Week to you out there. On today's edition of The Brief, of course, your favorite bilingual program, which is always dedicated to the review of striking headlines in the papers. We shall be focusing on three major headlines as captured by newspapers. The Anglophone crisis, talking about Ambazonia leaders who have been arrested and detained in the United States of America. We are told that more heads to rule in the days ahead as FBI continues with investigations of some of those Anglophone separatist leaders residing in the United States of America. Qatar FIFA World Cup 2022 is still making headlines in the papers as the game enters another stage. This time around we are talking about knockout stage where teams are now getting closer to the trophy. We shall equally talk about the budget for 2023 in the country. The finance bill has finally been passed in Parliament, and different ministers answered present to defend their various or respective packages for the year 2023. Lilian Foguen is here with me this morning. Let's have the headlines in the French language newspapers. Bonjour Lilian.
Bonjour Mr. Lasha, bonjour chers téléspectateurs du programme des Brief. Merci de nous recevoir sur vous, cette édition du 7 décembre 2022 sur My Media Prime Télévision. Alors pour cette première édition de la première partie de la revue de la presse en français, on va commencer avec le quotidien Le Messager qui titre à sa grande une Samuel Eto'o, je regrette. Suite à l'agression d'un youtubeur algérien l'ayant provoqué, le président de la FECAFOOT fait son mea culpa mais dénonce le climat hostile né depuis le barrage entre les Lions et Fennec à Blida. L'article est à lire et en page 10, il parle aussi de Jean-Michel Ninche qui estime que les ministres font de l'esprouf. Déclaration du député STF au sortir de la séance consacrée à l'examen du budget 2023. L'intégralité de l'article est à lire en page 3 et 4 de votre journal. Le quotidien Émergence s'intéresse aussi à la nouvelle affaire Samuel Eto'o fils. C'est ce qui fait d'ailleurs sa grande une ce matin. Émergence parle aussi des importations du blé qui creusent le déficit commercial ainsi que les tests PCR Covid-19 qui ont rapporté plus de 2 milliards de francs CFA au Cameroun. Vous retrouverez ces articles à la page 2, 4 et 5 du journal. L'info à chaud ce matin s'intéresse également à la petite correction du harceleur raciste algérien. La patrie d'abord, même si dans sa lettre d'excuse, le soldat Samuel Eto'o fils regrette d'avoir perdu son sang-froid et réagit d'une manière qui ne correspond pas à sa personnalité. Le président de la FECAFOOT rappelle aux autorités algériennes que son pays est la cible d'insultes et d'allégations de tricherie sans aucun fondement. Le 9 fait appel à la fédération algérienne et aux autorités du pays pour prendre leurs responsabilités et mettre un terme à ce climat avant qu'un drame plus grave ne se produise. L'intégralité est à lire en page 11. L'info à Chopal à petit titre de l'axe routier Mora Dabanga Kousseri. La Banque mondiale aux côtés de l'État pour un projet résilient à lire en page 2 et en page 3. Christian Timban, Bomo, Société civile des réconciliations. Le gouvernement avoue son incapacité à apporter des solutions à la situation économique du Cameroun. Le quotidien Mutation, à sa grande une, parle de la vie chère au menu du riz. Le gouvernement double la taxe à l'importation de cette denrée de grande consommation et fait craindre une hausse significative de son prix en 2023. L'intégralité de l'article, c'est en page 9. Et dans la page 7 et 15, il parle de la médecine vétérinaire, un diagnostic au Premier ministre et de la Coupe du Monde, le Maroc en cas de finale. L'heure du Sahel nous amène à Tokombéry. Vive tension autour de la chefferie de Seraoua. Le bi-hebdomadaire, dans ses petits titres, parle de 3 militaires accusés de complicité avec Boko Haram à Mora, c'est à lire en page 8. Il faut couvrir les besoins alimentaires de Logon et Chari d'ici 2027. Propos du professeur Miadi Al. Lire l'interview en page 11. Le quotidien bilingue Cameroun Tribune revient sur les micro-projets parlementaires, le pari de la transparence. C'est du moins ce qui fait sa grande une ce matin. D'ici 2023, la dotation jusque-là logée dans le budget du ministère de l'économie va être transférée au budget d'investissement de l'Assemblée nationale et du Sénat. En partant désormais la dénomination d'appui pour l'action parlementaire. Cette mutation est-elle porteuse d'une meilleure traçabilité et d'un impact plus significatif sur le quotidien des électeurs? Wait and see. Ample explication en pages 4 à 5. Le journal à capitaux publics s'intéresse aussi aux produits locaux. Pourquoi l'emballage compte? Le ministre des Petites et Moyennes Entreprises a ouvert hier à Yaoundé la première édition du Forum national sur l'emballage et la logistique. L'objectif est de lancer la réflexion sur cette exigence qui apparaît comme un véritable facteur de compétitivité du Made in Cameroun, c'est à lire en page 7. Alors, c'est tout pour la revue de la presse, première partie. Là, on vous donne dans les kiosques. N'oubliez pas que acheter un journal, c'est participer de manière significative à la suivi de la presse au Cameroun. Place à la revue de la presse en anglais avec vous, Lasha.
Thank you, Gladys. Thank you, Lilian Foguen, for coming this morning. We begin with the Chronicle Times newspaper. The Chronicle Times this morning is interested in the armed conflict in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. And of course, mass arrest looms as Christain set to expose US-based AMBA sponsors. The paper tells us further that a call was made recently for supporters or leaders of Ambazonia residing in the United States of America and other parts of Europe to come out en masse and protest against the arrest of these other leaders that, or the leaders that were arrested recently. Get full details on the call of Christain in this edition of Chronicle Times newspaper. And in the northwest region of the country, Northwest Youth Council presidency, Mekom Samuel tipped winner of anticipated stormy elections. Full detail on page 3 of this edition of the Chronicle Times newspaper. And the Chronicle Times newspaper is questioning this morning if you know about Bambui that is host to 3 institutes and 1 college of Bamenda University. Get full details. So this discovery page of the Chronicle Times newspaper this morning, talking about those institutions in Bambui, the institutions of the University of Bamenda in Bambui, in that locality. On to municipal updates. Municipal updates is also interested in the armed conflict in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon after arrests, indictments, and home raids in the U.S. Christain voice not dying alone. We are told by the paper that by making a desperate call for other AMBA sympathizers to come out for protest next Wednesday, 14th December 2022 in the United States of America. Analysts say Christain has steadily set a trap for other sponsors of terrorism across the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon to go down with him, and of course whom the U.S. judiciary is closing on, and on Christain's home was raided recently, and his mobile phones as well as laptops taken away by agents of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And let's talk this other headline that has to do with Bambui host to 3 institutes, 1 college of Bamenda Varsity. We are told that the Minister of State, Minister of Higher Education, Professor Jacques Famindongo, has made it public that Bambui will be hosting these 3 institutes as well as a college of the University of Bamenda. Let's take you now to the Guardian Post. The Guardian Post is interested in this exclusive interview granted the newspaper by Eric Tato. Eric Tato, one of the ringleaders of Ambazonian in the northwest region of the country. Eric Tato recounts a 6-hour encounter with FBI agents. Says they stormed my residence as if they were going for war. They broke into my house and pointed guns at me, handcuffed me and my wife. Those were the words of Eric Tato in the exclusive interview he granted the Guardian Post newspaper. And still in the Guardian Post newspaper, Bambui hosting 4 of UBA's 7 colleges and institutes. We are told that there have been widespread jubilation in Bambui, Tuba subdivision of the Northwest region of Cameroon, following the decision of the Minister of State, Minister of Higher Education, Professor Jacques Famindongo, for 4 colleges and institutions of the University of Bamenda, UBA, to be hosted in the locality. Full details on page 3 of this edition of the Guardian Post newspaper that you can find on newspapers kiosk this morning in the country. On to the Sun. The Sun newspaper this morning is interested in the adoption of the budget for 2023 in the National at the National Assembly after adoption of CFA 6,345.1 billion budget. 2023 will be morning. And of course, Metro Alex Ndive is joining us from Yaoundé, the political capital of Cameroon. We are hoping Alex Ngepi equally joins us in the studio this morning. Metro Alex, good morning and welcome to the program. Metro Alex, are you there? Good morning and welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mr. Lasha. Good morning, Mr. Lasha. Good morning, Lilian. Good morning to your team and good morning to the beautiful people of the Cameroon. It's always a pleasure to be on your program, The Brief.
You are still in Yaoundé, the political capital of Cameroon, enjoying your holidays. And how is Yaoundé this morning?
Yes, I'm in Yaoundé.
How is Yaoundé this morning?
Yaoundé, it's beautiful. Yesterday I've been going around Yaoundé. I've been looking at the street. I've been looking at litters. And I doubt what the people, the governor, the senators, the parliamentarians are doing in this country. As I sit on your program as a leader of British Cameroon National Party, I want to make something clear. Patriotism doesn't mean you walk the streets of Cameroon, you see litters everywhere, deaths everywhere. The streets are like pigsty. I love the country, that's why I'm doing that. If you are silent, you're only willing to take taxpayer money and do your private business, you don't love the country called the Cameroon. I love the country. That's why I want to see this country to be clean, less traffic, less polluted, good environment for the people of the Cameroon.
Yes, the budget for 2023 has been voted, and SDF Shadow Cabinet member is saying that 2023 will be tougher than 2022. Of course, there has been an increase of 256 billion as the budget for the financial year 2023. And of course, Metro Alex, another very interesting development that came from Parliament will be the micro project money for MPs, which has been removed. MPs will no longer receive that money from taxpayers.
Yes, Mr. Lasha. I should start. You said shadow of the SDF party. There are no shadow members in the Cameroon in accordance with the constitution and the laws of Cameroon. People should just stop making up things. I don't understand. People don't understand the type of regime we have. We have a presidential regime. You don't shadow a presidential regime. In the UK, where I live at the moment, they have a shadow. It is recognized by the constitution. Shadow means you challenge the government every day, day in, out, and you're being paid for that. So we should not be using or doing malapropism in the Cameroon. The constitution, we don't have shadow here. However, there should be an opposition that challenges the government, that scrutinizes the government, that holds the government into account. Going back to the budget, I've often said, most of us, people in the Cameroon, Chukhe, people we are not interested in the budget. Why? They go and vote the budget. It doesn't reach the common man in the street. The money disappears by the time it leaves Parliament. So sometimes I'm not a fan of budget. We don't know what they are using the money for. Going back to the macro project, I'm happy about this because sometimes when a lizard jumps on an Iroko tree and nobody praises the lizard, I will praise myself. For years upon years, I have been saying the parliamentarians in Cameroon, the government of the Cameroon, the ruling CPDM party, they don't know what is the function of a parliamentarian. A parliamentarian should not be having micro project. In one of my outings when I came to the Cameroon on your program, I made it clear that they should stop giving them micro project. The job of a parliamentarian is a liaison between the local people and the government. But however, they have been putting this money in their pocket. I made this about 2 weeks ago on your program that they should stop it. And when I come on your program and say I'm a leader of an opposition, it's because you scrutinize the government. By scrutinize the government can see things that they are giving money to this member of parliament as micro project. They use it to do their private things. Hooray! Once more for the CPDM ruling party. I'm happy. Money should be to the.
Okay, Lilian, the maître is still there.
Bonjour, maître.
Now he is getting you.
Bonjour, Lilian.
Alors, Cameroun Tribune parle d'une transparence, que ça permettra de faire une transparence sur le budget qui a été alloué. Est-ce que tu penses que, de la même façon que Cameroun Tribune, et aussi, il parle également d'une meilleure traçabilité et d'un impact plus significatif sur le quotidien des électeurs. Est-ce que tu trouves ça possible?
I heard much about transparency and you said other things. I presume I should be aligned with your question. When we talk about transparency, we cannot just listen to a newspaper. I'm happy that Cameroon.
No, it's a government newspaper.
C'est
government newspaper saying that there will be transparency because this money will be sent to the regional council
my point is, you cannot have transparency when you don't have checks and balances. You cannot have transparency when you don't have an independent judge that have nothing to do with the executive. Transparency can only come when we make sure that our constitution recognize an independent judiciary, legislative and executive, checks and balances. When we just say transparency in where, what happens?
Are you saying that the constitution does not? No, Meta, are you saying that the constitution does not recognize what you are saying? God is there, the arms of the government, they are enshrined in the constitution.
That the president of the republic guarantee the independence of the magistracy. He still guarantees.
You know, when they say guarantees the independence of the magistracy, maybe you are interpreting it wrongly. That's not the sense of the constitution.
No, I am an expert in constitutional law, and I will always quote my professor, Jacques Bikungu Marie, who taught me constitutional law in Wakele. It's Mr. Bia, the head of state, who determines everything.
Maître, cet agent qui a été transféré au ministère de l'économie.
A judge can sit and challenge the government, like in countries like Kenya, we have seen the judiciary challenging the executive and the decision stands. Unfortunately, in our country, we don't have that. But I believe we have to change institution. It's time for constitutional reform. We can talk about transparency, Mr. Lasha. All of us, we are human beings. We make mistakes. And sometimes, when we make errors, you want to cover it. That is why you need separate institution. That's why you need people to do things differently. All of us, I'm just saying this, the reason we have laws is because Homo sapiens, human beings, we are not perfect. That is why we have laws.
Maître Alex, le budget des microfinances a été transféré au ministère de l'économie. Est-ce que tu penses que cette mutation va permettre de faire une traçabilité et avoir un impact plus significatif sur le quotidien des électeurs?
Are you talking about the micro project?
Yes, the money that has been transferred to the Ministry of Economy.
Ministry of Finance.
No, Ministry of Economy, Regional, Planning and Development. Do you think that the common man will have an impact? Will have an impact on the common man?
When you transfer, I'm happy with the decision to stop the micro project. But the problem is, we don't have transparency transparency. We don't trust. I'll say personally, I don't trust our ministers because at the end of the day, I'll give you an example. The government said former minister Atangakuna have given money. There's no evidence that he has given the money to the government. We need to see it. So fine, they have transferred the micro project to another ministry. Do we trust this minister? We are still waiting for COVID gate. We are still waiting for Can gate. So to me personally, as the man in the street, as a common Cameroonian, we don't trust these people.
Donc, Maître Alex, tu penses que ce budget, Maître Alex, tu penses que ce budget pourrait être transféré à d'autres fonds et ne doit pas être utilisé à bon escient?
Definitely, to me, if you ask me how we look at such things, it's not about transferring budget. It's about giving people power. The local authority, they should have power to raise their own tax and use it. Rather than sending money, like example, they will send money to FECOM, then FECOM have to redistribute it. FECOM is the mother. The local authority, their children. No, we should respect our local authority. We should have confidence in our experts that they can raise tax and use it. If there's any money that they have to contribute to the central government, they send it to Yaoundé. You should not collect money, send it to them, let them give it back to you. Why is all those bureaucracy? We don't need that anymore. If you send money to the local people who are being elected, they know if they don't use the money properly, in 4 years, in 5 years' time, they will kick them out of office. That is why we have democracy. That is why real democracy is good. But when the money transferred in the hands of unelected minister, unelected bureaucrat, the money will disappear. As Professor Kuncho once said, Lasha a disparu and she Paris, le Cameroun.
Okay, maître.
During the World Cups.
Donc c'est aussi un autre agent qui va disparaître comme les autres maîtres.
Yeah, you ask me my clear opinion. I'm not here to flatter the ruling CPDM government. I don't trust the ruling CPDM government. Mr. Bia doesn't trust them. If Mr. Bia trusts the ruling CPDM government, Ondomdo wouldn't be in prison. Mebengo wouldn't be in prison. Titus Seswa wouldn't have been there. Desiree Engo wouldn't have been in prison. And all those embezzlers that Mr. Bia have put them in Kondege. Mr. Bia doesn't trust them. I don't trust them too.
Okay, Maître, let's talk about Chris Anu, who has vowed not to die alone shortly after his home was raided by agents of the Federal Bureau of Investigation in the United States of America. Chris Anu is calling on other supporters or sponsors of war in the Northwest and Southwest regions to come out on Wednesday, 14th December 2022, to protest in the U.S.
Mr. Lasha, April, May 2017 is a very important date in my life. It's very pivotal. I will be happy to be on your platform and talk about Fon Godi Dinka, a honorable and respectable lawyer. Fon Godi Dinka created something called Amazonia in 1984 when Mr. Bia changed the name of United Republic of Cameroon peacefully. I made it clear on April, May 2017 that the organization, the pressure group created by Foguen Dinka, elected lawyer, who what he was doing was hijacked. So at the end of the day, I've seen the media, I've seen journalists, they all have hackers, all smart, they call criminals that they are leaders. That's important. From day one, I made it, these guys are criminals. Okay, that's my opinion. I never shot.
Apparently the lines are really giving us headache this morning with Maitre Alex. Lilian, we're talking about leaders of Ambazonians in the United States of America. That there's one called Chris Anu who is calling on other leaders to come out and protest against the arrest by the judiciary, by the American justice system, of some of those that have been suspected of sponsoring the war in the Northwest and Southwest regions of Cameroon.
Mr. Lasha, jusqu'ici, jusqu'à nos jours, on ne sait pas qui est franchement derrière cette histoire de crise anglophone. Bon, le système américain n'est pas le système camerounais, donc le jugement ou bien la constitution est différente également de la constitution américaine. Donc du coup, tout ce qui se passe ici, comment on dit, les forces extérieures ne doivent pas intervenir. Donc, le Cameroun, je pense que le Cameroun a suffisamment des textes et des lois qui situent tout ce qui se passe actuellement dans ces zones-là. Mais là, c'est un leader qui a été arrêté. Mais on n'a pas encore présenté officiellement que c'est lui le leader qui est derrière cette crise anglophone. Pour le moment, c'est encore une spéculation.
Ils ont fait ce qu'on appelle levée de fonds depuis 2018. Selon les sources, selon ce que le FBI, yes, FBI said these people have been raising money since 2018 to fund the war. They purchased weapons in America to send to Cameroon for Cameroonians to be killed. There are 3 of them who were taken away, and this other one, Chris Anu and Eric Tato, their homes were raided by agents of FBI. Their telephones were taken, their laptops taken for more investigation.
Bon, M. Lasha, ces enquêtes-là ont été faites par qui? C'est pas l'État américain, non?
Yes, of course, they are residing
voilà.
in America.
Est-ce qu'ils ont l'accord du Cameroun? Est-ce que c'est ici, au Cameroun, qu'il a été arrêté?
They are residing in America.
Voilà. Donc, du coup, si c'est aux États-Unis qu'ils avaient été arrêtés, donc ça veut dire que c'est avec la loi américaine qu'on va utiliser pour les juger. Donc, le Cameroun n'a donc rien à y voir, sauf si on les ramène ici au pays et avec des, comment on appelle ça, des chefs d'accusation avec des preuves à l'appui, parce qu'on ne peut pas aussi condamner quelqu'un comme ça juste sur les faits d'une enquête qui a été réalisée aux États-Unis.
Okay, Maître is joining once again. Before you left us, we were talking about the call of Chris Anu calling for other sponsors of war in the Northwest and Southwest to join him protest come December 14th.
Before I answer your question directly, I want to make this point. Nobody has been arrested for fighting for the Anglophone problem. Number 2, war is legal. To fight war is legal. And there are war crimes. When you commit war crimes, that's when you're in trouble. But if you're fighting the war and respecting the rules of law, it's not a criminal offense. I go back to these guys that they have been arrested. I will state it again. They are innocent until proven guilty. And my point is, I am not surprised. 5 years ago, I made it clear. But let's be careful. I'll say this thing. I don't know if a Cameroonian lawyer is listening to me. When people have been indicted, when people have been charged, you don't talk about it on social media because it could be prejudicial. You can influence the trial. And sometimes, if people are wise lawyers, they can say these people cannot have fair trial because everybody is talking about it on social media or whatsoever. There's Section 39 in the UK. They ask the media, don't get involved in that case. You don't talk about it. You can say, yes, they have been indicted, it ends there. But what we are doing today, we are doing what we call trial by media. We are talking about the case, we are prejudging them. If there's an alleged offense, if you arrest somebody or you indict somebody, the person is still free. The person has got the right to bail. Until you find that person guilty, then that's when you can say the person has committed the crime. That's when papers like in Cameroon, you can level watch that some papers are so mature, inexperienced. They are labeling people who have not been found guilty for an offense. Very dangerous. I presume every government in the departments, they should let our people know that they don't have to select. So I presume you're still listening to me because I saw a price. And it's very important that we understand that these people who have been indicted, they have breached the law of United, not the law, because the government have put no case against them at the moment. The government have not made any application against them. And why are they being indicted? It's clear. It's something I've been talking about here. people have been raising funds in United States to sponsor what? Kidnapping of civilians. Talking about lockdown, I said it's a war crime. Attacking civilians, raping women and children, I've been talking about it, is a war crime. That is why these people have been indicted. They have not been indicted because they are fighting for Anglophone problem. They have been committing criminal offense. They are brought into prison, release prisoners to attack people in Northwest and Southwest. So these people, there's an alleged offense, which to me, there is enough evidence to take this matter to court. But however, I would urge the ruling CPDM party, we are focusing on people, 2 or 3 people that have been indicted. Our focus is how do we stop the Anglophone problem? That is what is important. Do the government want to stop the Anglophone problem? My opinion is no. Why? There is a procedure if you want to stop people who are attacking your country from abroad. It's called what? Extradition procedure. The onus is on who? The ruling CPDM party. How do you do it? Make an application to the U.S.
But you are talking about American citizens, Maitre Alex. How do you bring American citizens back to Cameroon to judge them?
Doesn't know a nationality or a citizen. If a Cameroonian goes to Britain and commits a crime, it's a criminal offense. If an American citizen comes to Cameroon and murders somebody, it is a crime. If you sit in the Cameroon, you attack people in America, the American government will come right there. There's an example. There's somebody, a lady, who committed an offense in America. Went to Bamenda, this Bamubang is somebody who used to own a college. I don't know if the college is there. The daughter fled and came to Bamenda. The FBI came to Cameroon with collaboration from the government. They picked that lady and she went and stood trial in America. So why is the government afraid? The government is afraid to extradite or to make an application from the U.S. government because the Anglophone problem is a political problem. They are afraid that if they try to extradite them, they might not succeed. So their aim is to allow the United States government to do their dirty work. But however, I will state on your platform, an offense has been committed. It's up to the laws of the United States of America to determine if some people are found guilty. It's not easy. We think because you indict somebody, it's easy to go to court and to do ABC. It doesn't work that way. It is very difficult to prove certain things in court.
But some of these people have evidence. There are evidences against some of these people. There are videos calling for.
Mr. Lasha, for that question.
Yeah,
Thank you for that question. You can have evidence. It's good for our audience now, and that evidence might be thrown out from court. One of the reasons I'm giving you, we on the media, we are prejudging them, so they cannot have fair trial. We are talking about the case. Another reason why a case could be thrown out of court. Example, if you're talking with your lawyer, you're privy to your conversation. If the FBI gets into that conversation, despite the evidence, the matter could be thrown out of court. So there are so many reasons why a case could be thrown out of court, even if there are evidence. So we should be careful.
So somebody, there's a video. You have a video of Maitre Alex ordering some people to chop off the hands of Mr. Lasha, for example, chop off his head.
Mr. Lasha, I've heard those evidence.
Yes.
But in the UK, we call it Police and Criminal Evidence Act. If you breach those rules, it doesn't matter whether the evidence are there, they will throw it out of court. One, the part of a judiciary, the hearing, court hearing, is because why? You want fair trial. Once as that person cannot have fair hearing, it's in the Constitution of Cameroon. Whatever evidence you have, it's possible that they can throw the case out of court. There's a criminal procedure, you have to follow it. If you follow the criminal procedure, no matter what evidence you have, whether there's video or whatever, there is a possibility if you don't follow.
Maître Alex, tu crois que cette enquête qui a été faite du côté des États-Unis prouve exactement que ces 3 personnes interpellées sont derrière la crise anglophone?
The person interpelled has just what I got.
She's asking that the 3 people who are being indicted in the United States of America, that is it not clear that they were behind the Anglophone crisis? Is there anything
Est-ce que tu
to
as
be
confiance aux
doubted,
enquêtes qui ont été menées là-bas de ce côté?
Listen, when you're being indicted, they call you the accused. You're being accused. And I'll tell you a lot of things, which I'm happy for that Lilian brought this to me because something have triggered my memory. It is important for us to understand that some member of government, I repeat, some member of government have been working with the so-called people who have been not indicted, who have been attacking Cameroon. I've seen people, government ministers, government officials, church officials, meeting some of these people who have said that they should chop off people's hands, cut off people's hands. To me, I'll tell you, most of these people, I don't know them, I've never met them, I haven't had a conversation with them. But when you have government officials giving money to some of them so that they can fight each other, I'm sure the government is afraid. And we should know this. There's something they call in French, agent provocateur. Some of these people who claim to be the so-called ambassador, whom I call hijacker, they are working for the government of the Cameroons. So they stay there to provoke things so that they should be fighting each other. We have heard about contracts from CDC to give it to some of those people. Who is giving it? It's the government of Cameroon. So at the end of the day, I've seen Cameroonians, some of them who used to be parliamentarians, who openly say it's on a video or audio that they are giving money. They were sponsoring these people to attack Cameroon. So charity begins at home. If the government really believes that they want to stop people who have been attacking the Cameroons, they must start arresting these people in government who have been working with these people. Some of them having pictures, some of them giving money. I'm sure Mr. Biya doesn't know about them. Some of Mr. Biya's ministers, parliamentarians, they have been sponsoring terrorism.
Maître Alex,
talking with these people. Why should a parliamentarian be talking with people that they have asked for a senator to chop people's hands? You should allow the police in the Cameroons to deal with that. So some parliamentarians, some senators, they are working with these people. There are conversations that they talk with these people. So
Maître Alex, selon toi, qu'est-ce qu'il faudrait faire pour pouvoir mettre un terme à cette crise qui perdure depuis 5 ans aujourd'hui?
What should we do to put an end to what?
The crisis that has been raging for over 5 years and counting.
If you ask me, I have a couple of solutions. One of the solutions, the first one I will talk about it. We saw what happened in South Africa. People killing black people, putting them in acid to dissolve. People destroying people, fighting each other. The South Africans, they thought that the best solution was peace and reconciliation committee. People came under an independent commission, they confess, they talk about what they have done, they apologize, and the matter ended there. Today we have a democratic South Africa. That's one of the way to do it. But if we want to fight forever, we want to do divide and rule, we want to point someone that is a devil, the other person is a saint, then this crisis will go on forever. Insofar as I condemn the chopping of the hands of citizens in this country, insofar as I condemn these people committing what we call war crime, for the sake of peace, for the love of the Cameroon land, sometimes we have to look and say, look, we want peace in this country and people have committed things. We look at them, and if the population is willing to forgive and let's move on, then that's the best solution. Insofar as we start calling some people that they are devil, another person is a saint.
So Maître Alex, according to you, only peace should be the first thing or the main thing. What about justice? Because from what you are saying means that
from my mouth. Part of that thing I talk about reformation of the constitution. We have a nanny state.
No, you are saying that if communities accept to forgive these people, then they should go ahead. What about those that have committed or inflicted the pains on these communities? Should they not be judged?
The committee are part of the people who have received the pain. It's up to them. Then there is a government. We see South Africa today where they have democracy. We can see people taking ex-president, current president under trial. We should make sure our country, nobody is above the law. We should have transparency. Once as nobody is above the law, then I believe people will be able to say, let's move forward. Nobody is happy. We cannot have a country where the Prime Minister cannot go to his village, where Paul Tasson cannot go to his village, where Mr. Bayu cannot go to his village. We cannot have a country like that. We cannot have a country where the Minister of Territorial Administration, Atanganji, is not free to walk the street of Bamenda. We have to look for a solution. And that solution means sometimes you have to swallow the bitter pill. We have seen that in Northern Ireland, where there have been IRA, terrorist organization, terrorizing people for more than 30 years, sponsored by the United States. I should make it clear, the IRA was being sponsored by the United States. They were sponsoring terrorists to attack citizens in the United Kingdom. But at the end of the day, there was a commission, Bill Clinton stepped in, Cyril Ramaphosa, the current president of South Africa, they came in. They said, look, we need justice, we need peace. Justice, peace. Okay. We have to have those two things. We cannot say we can have peace without justice. It will never work. Mr. Bia, the government, they must be ready to give away some of their powers. They must make sure to say Cameroon is one and indivisible, which means we have equal rights. If you, Mr. Lasha, you want to be the director of Sky TV, there should be that route. When they put it to any particular people, there's Re-Engo from Saint-Jesús, Mendoza, Saint-Jesús, Charles Dongo, Saint-Jesús, Sonara, particular people. When you run a country by putting a glass ceiling and people, they cannot climb the ladder, then there can never be peace in this country. The people who are in power, they have to start sharing power. They have to start giving away their power. And when they start giving that power, we are going to have peace in this beloved country.
Thank you, Maitre Alex Ndive. You joined us this morning from the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. Hopefully, we'll be with you next week, if time permits, that you'll be with us on the program. Thank you, Lilian Foguen. Thank you, televiewers of My Media Prime TV, for taking our time to watch this midweek edition of the program produced for us by Christain Tebong. We've been Lilian Foguen and myself, Lasha Kingsley, for presentation. Bye-bye for now.